Somebody call. I don't think I have to read his bio now. Frank Cohen, ladies and gentlemen.
About today as a component of that is about decision making and evidence-based decision making, the difference between anecdote and antidote, if you will. Things that we think might work to eliminating as much of the risk as is possible to do so. Every day we all make decisions, right? All of you had to make a decision this morning when you got up if you were going to come to the sessions or not. You know, and if you were, you know, what you were going to do first and how you were going to get here and what you do in going to work. And in our families and in our careers, we make hundreds, if not thousands, of decisions every single day. And when we make bad decisions, sometimes the consequences are significant, aren't they? But sometimes they're not. And so we become a bit desensitized to how important this process can be. Fields of observation that chance favors the prepared mind. I'm not going to be able to show you today or prove to you today, because it's just not true, that every good decision will have a good outcome, because it's not true. But I hope what we can do today is start to get a handle on how to minimize risk and maximize the outcomes of what it is that we're trying to do. Because without proper information and without the evidence that we need to make decisions, it's more likely than not the decisions we make are going to be bad decisions. Everybody okay with that? Let's talk about this idea, first of all, of what is a decision, okay? Let's do some real sort of grassroots, bottom line, definitional stuff. And a decision is a conclusion upon which we act. Hopefully, we don't always do that. But the idea is that the reason that we make a decision is so that we can act upon it and there will be some outcome from that decision. Decisions, and we're going to do some myth busting in just a few minutes. Decisions are not single point, isolated moments in time. Decisions are the result of a lifetime for many people, or at least some time of experiential knowledge and training and learning throughout our lives. And decisions are rarely made on the spot, except in crisis situations. And even then, in crisis management, the people who do the best in making decisions during a crisis are people who practice making decisions during crises. Myth number 3 is that good decisions are made by very smart and highly intellectual people. I wish it was true. I wish that was true. I wish that intelligence and intellect played the key role in decision making, but the fact is it doesn't. And we'll see in a couple slides that honestly it's more emotional issues, and there's political issues involved where decisions are made often by people who don't even have the knowledge of everything, all the information that they need, but they work with teams and groups of people. But insecurity, survivability, they can paralyze us so that we can't make a decision, unfortunately, as well as motivate us to make decisions quicker than those decisions should be made because we're reacting rather than responding to the data. But when we develop a model, what we do is we start with something that's a practical problem, okay? What kind of practical problems do we have in healthcare, right? AR, or billing and collection, or whether we're going to go medical home, or physician compensation, right? All of those. And what happens is we end up going out in sort of this theoretical world over here. So we get involved in theory, and we test things, and we hypothesize, and we see what works and what doesn't work. And the ultimate goal is when we're done with this, in the model, is we come out with a practical solution, all right? But we are so diverse in healthcare, and there is such great variability that there is no one solution, even in the same area for any practice. There's no way I could develop a physician compensation model that would fit all of you. There's not even a financial policy that could be implemented in all of your practices if it was exactly the same because of the variability in which it works. So we have to raise issues. We're building a model. We want to take and plug in these possibilities into the model, and the solutions will come out, and they're customized, if you will, for our particular organizations. And we clarify our goals. What is it we're really trying to achieve? Is it a reduction in AR? Are we trying to get an e-prescribed system in? Do we need a certain percentage of physicians to buy into the project in order for it to work? We identify the boundaries of the project. What are we capable of doing? This was wonderful in this project that we were working on this e-prescribed thing. What they wanted to do was they wanted to have 100% of their physicians using it 50% of the time. And what I asked them was, what are the main drivers? You know, because anytime you introduce this type of technology, physicians lose productivity, right? I mean, EMRs, EHRs, e-prescribe, whatever. I just can't think of anything in the world. I was a PA for 8 years, and I cut a lot of prescriptions in my time. And I can't think of anything simpler than scribbling out on a prescription pad and handing it to the patient. Getting on the computer, typing everything in, making sure you got the right Walgreens. I don't know about you, but where I live, there's a CVS and Walgreens on every single major corner. Getting the right place and plugging, right? Isn't it just easier to write a prescription? And so to try to convince a physician to lose productivity, we need to find the boundaries to this. And they said, well, we want to reduce prescription error. There's a noble cause, right? And I said, well, what do you want to reduce it to? And they said 0. And I said, what's your prescription error now? What do you think they said? We have no idea. And we found out that, in fact, there was no way to measure that within this system that they had. So we have to identify the boundaries and decisions. I have a question. How many of you have ever been in a situation where a problem came up, you made a decision, and it was successful? Raise your hands. Raise your hands. You've ever been successful in making a decision? Okay. How many of you have had the same problem, or at least it looked like the same problem come up again? You made the same decision and this time it didn't work. Raise your hands. Okay? And that's one of the problems with experience, is that we think, and this is very common, by the way, human beings almost always overestimate their ability to make decisions. We almost always overestimate how good we are at making decisions and solving problems. And it's just, there's study after study that supports it. And this is why my sort of mission here, I'm an evangelist, if you will, for this idea of practice analytics, of measuring things, of getting information and data first. Number one, a good problem solver has to be relentless. Relentless. And my wife and I were talking about it. She wanted me to find a different word for this, and I looked and I couldn't find one. But I believe if you want to be a good problem solver, you have to be obsessive about the problem. And what happens is that most of us simply don't spend enough time. We're not interested in the problem. Find something in the practice, an issue that really floats your boat, that you're really passionate about. To be adaptability is another part of it. You have to be patient. Sometimes it takes a long time to solve a problem. And iconoclastic, meaning you have to step out of the box. If you've been trying to solve a problem using the same tools all the time and it doesn't work, is it possible that they're the wrong tools? So find a new set of tools. Do something different from what you've been doing. And what I'm proposing today is that we take our practical problem and we create an analytical problem, something that we can quantify and we can measure. And then let's find an analytical solution, something that stands the test of quantification. And then convert that into a practical solution so we can solve the problems that we're trying to solve. Okay. You guys all right? Thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you this afternoon. Don't do it. Thanks, Mickey. Sit down.